I've never seen something more overhyped like the new starter kits that have been produced by Laravel version 12. And I don't really have anything to say about it because you see, at the end of the day, we as developers need to find a way to use these technologies without spending a dime unless they're actually making for us money. So I found a way. And the only way is that you continue using Laravel Jetstream. Like that's the only thing that I could conjure up in my mind. And most people have just decided to migrate away from Laravel Jetstream and have actually started using the UI packages, whether it be Flux, whether it be ShardCN, whether it be ShardCN View. They've just decided to migrate all the way. They've started to take on that learning curve, but they keep on forgetting that that Laravel Jetstream actually still works. And I'm about to show you one of the implementations that you could actually do for yourself without even requiring Laravel Jetstream per se, but it also uses a bit of the packages that Laravel Jetstream actually came with. And I'm going to show you this. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to show you how to implement the user profile section using purely Livewire and just a few packages. I don't know where you're going to get them from, but if you can get them from Jetstream, it makes it easier. So let's get in. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, we have my profile. This is the user profile section of the application. But here's what I want to show you, okay? The user profile section is implemented by these routes. Inside my web routes, I have inside my user routes, over here my user routes, and I just get to zoom in so that you can see everything. Inside my user routes, I have my profile over here. As you can see, my profile over here, which is user profile, and this is, as you can see, a Livewire component. So this Livewire component has this part over here. It's just rendering my user profile section. But if you look, I'm using some user profile, sections, which I've also crafted. Now, I took the liberty of using Livewire Volt to be able to craft out these different UI sections. And those UI sections are inside over here. So you can see we're in Livewire user profile, and then we can come in here and do these various ones. Now, they're just similar to the ones that we had here, except there's a bit of some changes that have occurred. So watch this. If we go into the let's actually start with the update profile information, okay? You can definitely see that we're using Volt over here, where we have use Livewire Volt component, and we've brought in the new class extends component and use with file uploads, and that's how we move on forward. So as you can see, we have this public user and public photo as the two variables that we're going to be using over here. What we've done here is we've come and done our protected listeners so that it keeps on refreshing every time we, every time we trigger a certain browser event. Now, just as long as you're seeing this, right? When we begin the function over here for mount, we can begin by stating this user is equal to the authenticated user. Then we can also come in here and state that, okay, because we want to validate, we're validating through these rules that we've returned over here, where the username is required, the email is required, and I could add another setting over here and say that this one needs to be an email. Okay, so it's required and it's an email. And then the next thing is that after validation, we have to check a few things. One, we check if the photo has been uploaded. If a photo has been uploaded, then we have to update the profile photo. And this is a function that comes in through, like, let's say, for example, if we go to our area of operations, which is our model. If we go to our model, we have our users model. And then we can see that we have this thing for has profile photo. So given that we importing this trait, it also imports that particular function for the update profile photo. So if we click on this, you can see we have update profile photo where it passes in the uploaded photo, and then there's also the storage path and all that stuff. But now that's not the main reason why we're bringing it here. We're just trying to upload the profile photo. This is just the general function of what usually works. behind the scenes inside the Laravel Jetstream and its packages. If we come in here and now we look at this statement over here, we say if this user email is not equivalent to the authenticated user email. So this essentially is telling us that if the user email inside the form that we're changing is not equivalent to the one that's in the database, it means that you changed the email. And if you change the email, then it needs to be re-verified. So we need to come in here and set this user email verified at is going to be null. And then we save this and then we dispatch that the profile update is updated successfully. Now inside my model over here, inside the user's model, I've passed the implementation of the must verify email such that whenever we are doing some authentication or some passing of authentication, we are definitely going to use this must verify email to make sure that whoever it is that's trying to access the user's capacity is supposed to be authenticated and the email is going to be verified. Now to test this, we have our area over here. I'm going to just change my email address from reach to stevennmb9@gmail.com, and then we're going to hit save. Once we hit save, you can definitely see that we have saved it. But now if I come in here and refresh this, I'm going to be called to verify my email again. So then it tells me, thanks for signing up. Before getting started, could you verify your email address by clicking on the link we've just emailed to you? If you didn't receive the email, we will gladly send you another. And they've not sent an email just yet, as you can see. But if we come in here and send the verification email, all right, we'll click on that and it sent a new verification link and it has come in over here. So now we'll come in here and click on verify email and it has brought me back to this place. So you can definitely see that the email verification is definitely working. And if I come in here and select a new photo, let's select a photo like maybe say this one. And it's going to upload the photo as a temp. And then after that, we're going to come in here and click on save. And now once it's saved, you can definitely see that if I refresh this, you can see that we refresh also over here. And now we also have a user profile popping up over there. Now, the next thing that we're going to check out also is the update password form. And this is how it has been implemented. As you can see, I'm still using Volt for this one as well. And now here's the logic. We are passing in, we're using auth, we're using hash, we're using Fortify's package. So Fortify is very crucial in these Laravel packages. You need to use Laravel Fortify for this. And and I've done the updates, user passwords, and the password validation rules and all that stuff. Okay. So we've come in here and we've implemented the updates users passwords inside this component. And then we've also we've also passed in the trait for the password validation rules, such that all the functions that are inside this password validation rules, like the password rules over here, for example, are inside my application. So now once we come in here, we've initialized some few variables. There's current password, there's password confirmation, and there's the user. Now the rules that we've passed in are the current password being required, and it has to be equivalent to the current password that we have signed in. I've passed in the authentication guard just to make sure. And yeah, that's how it works. And then we have the password over here, which is required. And then I have the confirmed with passing in the field that we want to pass in over here, just like this, password confirmation. But we could have left this blank if we wanted to. And then over here, we have this part for the password. The password comes in over here from Illuminate Validation Rules password. And then we have the minimum of size 8. But I'm here to show you that you can actually use this, and then we can say password rules. All right, so you can come in here and use password rules. It's coming in from this password validation rules. But I'm just going to leave it like this. Minimum size 8 and all that stuff. Then we have password confirmation, which is required, and it's required with password. And then we're going to pass in to be the same with the password. So this is just for concurrency matters. If you were using it in normal Laravel, you wouldn't have needed to pass this password confirmation inside here. But now that we've passed it in, because Livewire has misbehaving capacity. So now we move on forward to the messages. The messages over here are the current password and current password over here. I've passed in a key and over here a translation, and this translation key is supposed to be the provided password does not match your current password, and that's how we go about it. So the reason why I've done the translation bit over here is in future I want to implement different languages. Given that I'm deploying this app in Kenya, I might want to import Swahili as another language, and maybe other tribe languages if possible. All right. But now we move on forward. Obviously, we have the function for the mount, which we have this user being the authenticated user. And then we have our update password function, which is the main function in this situation. So you can definitely see that we have the validation running in with the rules. We have the try catch. So now this try catch, what it's going to do here is it's going to try and save. And if there are any errors within this save method, then it throws it into this dispatch. And what happens during this dispatch is it does this done method over here. And if you can see my most of what I can tell you is my layout for the user capabilities has this part over here for the app layout. And inside this app layout, I've enabled this part over here. So Livewire on done, we're using toast. And this toast is coming in from Sweet Alerts. So that I'm just putting it right there. So given that we're dispatching this event, it will pop up a Sweet Alert every single time we update the password. And then we come in here and done, we'll come in here and say failed this get message. So whatever it is that the error is in behind here, then it will give us this in a toast rather than popping up that very ugly error page or error modal, whatever it is that you'd like to call it. Instead of popping it up, it just does the Sweet Alert. And that's how it works. Now we move on to the forms section. And over here, we come in here and submit update password. All right. So this is the function that we're running. So when we come in here, we do the form section. This form section is coming in from Jetstream, but you can design it however you want, just as long as the form appears like this. Okay. And then as we move on forward, when we try and put in like our input, and the type is a password. And then we've put in a class where if errors has current password, then we put in a class is invalid. And yeah, we move on forward from there. We have the wire model live. We have the current password over there. And then we have the input error as well. So let me show you what happens if we put in the wrong password. So if I come in here and just put in a random password and save, you can see the provided password does not match your current password, and then you can see the password field is required. So now if I come in here and put in the current password, then if I click on save, we have this field as well. So now if I'm going to put in a different password now at this point, and then we put in the password here. So I've put a different password from the new password over here. So if I come in here and hit save, you can see password field confirmation does not match. So I can come in here and do the password that I have put in up here, and then I hit save. And when I save, it redirects me back to the place where I'm supposed to log in. Okay. So I come in here, I log in with a new password this time. And now I'm going to come in here and do, and then I'll click on login, and we are logged in. So as you can see, I'll just update the password and we're good to go. Okay. So now that section is done. And this is just a form like any other that is comparing one and another. And we have logic in the back over here that is very easy to understand, to be fair. So let's move on forward to the one that is the most difficult one to get into your system, two-factor authentication. And now we're again using Volt. All right. So I'm going to show you slowly what's going to happen over here. We have our two-factor authentication not enabled. Okay. We're going to click enable two-factor authentication. It's going to give us our QR. So it giving us our QR, we can have our 6-digit code over here. We put it in here and then we verify. So now given that we have our QR code, and the thing about this QR code, ladies and gentlemen, is the QR codes are supposed to switch up after every single request, okay? Every single request, you have a new QR code, and it refreshes and refreshes and refreshes. But now let's move on to trying to figure out what's going on over here. I have my QR code that I generated from this one in the past. And if I come in here into my authenticator and pass it in the code 848305, if I click on verify, it says the provided two-factor authentication code was invalid. Why? It's because I scanned it before, but it's not the same scan as this one. So I'm going to scan this one, and now it's given me a new one. And now given that I've gotten a new one, I'm just going to come in here and do 481045, which is the code that I've been given, and I'm going to verify. And once I've verified, you can see two-factor authentication is enabled. All right. So once this two-factor authentication is enabled, if I log out, then I try and sign in again, this is what happens. We go and it tells us, please confirm access to your account by entering the authentication code provided by the authenticator application. So I'm going to use the authenticator application. It's switched up. And now that it's switched up, we can log in and then we can see our profile. Everything is fine and dandy. We still have our recovery codes over here. I'll probably work on trying to hide them with a button, like the show recovery codes and hide recovery codes. And that's how it's going to work. So that's how this is done. And yeah, that's essentially what is in the front ground, right? But you need to understand what goes on in the back end as well. This is what's going on. Inside here, my new class, all right? I have, these are 6 different variables, all right? We have a Boolean variable over here so for show verification, which is started at false. We have enabled, we have QR code, we have recovery codes, the code itself, the user, okay? Now, when we begin the application, when we begin this page or this section, this user is equal to the authenticated user. Okay, we could have just left it as auth user like this. It still works the same way. Okay, still works the same way. So we have the authenticated user. This enabled is equal to, you have to check first of all if this user has a two-factor confirmed at section. Okay, so if this this two-factor confirmed at, which is a timestamp, if it's null, if it's not null, then this enabled is true, right? If it's not null, this enabled is true. So right now, at the moment, two-factor confirmed at is actually having a timestamp somewhere, so which means this is enabled. And then when we come in here and ask the question, if this is enabled, all right, then we have to take the QR code and we generate it from this function over here, two-factor QR code SVG. And then we come in here and do this recovery codes is equal to this user recovery codes. Now, before we even go further, where is this function coming from and where is this function coming from? If we go to our model for the user, I'm going to show you how this is done. If you go to our function over here, we have this two-factor authenticatable, which is also coming from Laravel Fortify. Okay, so this is the essentials of the two-factor authenticatable, all of them packed into one package. If we go to two-factor authentication, right, two-factor code, QR code SVG, this is coming in from that particular implementation, all right, that trait. So if we go back to the user's model, we come in here and click on two-factor authenticatable. You can see we have these functions over here. We have has enabled two-factor authentication. We have recovery codes. We have replace recovery code. And we have two-factor QR code SVG. And then we have two-factor QR code URL. So essentially, all of this is coming in from, you know, just the package itself. It's beautiful, honestly. I think it's very, very, very simple to understand. I can't even put everything to words at this point. You just call this function and it works. So you put it inside your QR code variable. You put this inside your recovery codes variable, and then otherwise you come in here and disable two-factor authentication. So now the reason why I have come in here and said this disable two-factor authentication, which is a function that I've also declared over here. This is what's going on, okay? Given that we have our two-factor confirmed at, if we look at our table, if we look at our table, we have this part over here, add two-factor columns table, all right? This is what usually comes when you install Jetstream. You have a two-factor secret and a two-factor confirmed at column, all right? So two-factor secret, two-factor recovery codes, and then you have our two-factor confirmed at. So given that this is nullable, and this is also nullable, you can have a situation where we have a two-factor secret, but we don't have any of these, which is fine. You can generate these using the two-factor secret. You can have this two-factor secret and the two-factor recovery codes, but you don't have the two-factor confirmed at. What does that mean? It means that you probably open it up like this. Let's disable two-factor, okay? Now that we've disabled two-factor, we can come in here and click on enable. You probably clicked on enable, and what has happened is the two-factor secret has been generated together with the recovery codes, and it's already in the database. So now, given that that's the situation, if we come in here and click on refresh, then if we've not confirmed anything, but we're not checking if we've confirmed, then two-factor authentication might already be verified. Let me actually even show you what I mean by the whole confirmation situation. This is where I want to show you that this is what could possibly happen, right? The thing about this is, if we had this instead of this two-factor confirmed that, instead of having two-factor confirmed that, and we had two-factor recovery codes. Check this out, yeah? Every time we open this page and we click on enable 2FA, if we refresh this, it's already enabled. Two-factor is already enabled. So that's where the security feature is lying. It's relying on the two-factor recovery codes. So it could have just ended up, being complete without having to verify that you actually have the two-factor authentication. But now this needs to be confirmed. So you have to come in here and just use a two-factor confirmed at. Actually, I'm just going to reverse to what it used to be. So that's what happens. Yeah, if we don't take those 3 columns seriously. You have to take this one in particular very seriously. And this one can only be filled in if these other ones are already okay and the code has been gotten and it has been verified against the QR code. Now, let's move on forward and look at what we're dealing with in this situation again. Let's start again. We have to have 3 different functions. We have enabled the two-factor authentication, we have the verify two-factor authentication, and then we have the disable two-factor authentication. From Fortify, we have actions. We have enable, disable, and confirm. Those are 3 classes that we need to bring in from actions, okay? Inside confirm, it's, if you look at how this is done, yeah? Enable two-factor authentication. What is usually done is, you have this invoke function, which is just invocable whenever you call it inside that app function, and that's essentially what is going to be happening. So you come in here and see if the two-factor secret is empty, then you have to generally use the two-factor secret coming in from Fortify's options. Then after it's there, after it's placed in, you can definitely see that we're putting in a two-factor secret inside the user's database. Then we have the two-factor recovery codes, which are essentially coming in like that. And then, those are the factors, those are the functions that are going to be occurring inside this application, right? Or this function in particular. So all these functions, all these different ones are just working exactly the same way. And I'd implore you, ladies and gentlemen, go and actually do your research on how those functions are done and also how they are called. This is how I've called them, okay? Inside the enable two-factor authentication, we have this situation over here. If our user's two-factor secret is not there, then we have to declare it, okay? And then after declaring it, we come in here and, so whatever happens here is already affecting the database. It's already affected the database. Now, once it's affected the database, the user that we've already affected is going to come in here and generate a QR code. And this QR code is going to, show up on the page, and then we have to switch this show verification to be true. The next thing we're going to do is verify. verify the QR code. So when we come in here, to verify the QR code, we have to check, first of all, is the form having a code? If it does, then throw the validation. If it does not have the code, then throw the validation exception saying that the invalid authentication code, please try again. Now, when we move on forward, we come in here and you can see that we have our app. And by the way, you might not even need to do this, okay? Because already over here, inside our confirm two-factor authentication, we already have our throwable. Whereas if the code is not existing, okay, then it throws a validation exception with messages, okay? So if the code is empty or the provider verify is not matching, if the code is not matching whatever it is that they expect, or the code is empty, then it's going to throw a validation exception. So even this bit over here of this not being available is probably not even required. So you have this verify two-factor authentication starting by confirming the two-factor authentication using the user and the code, okay? Then after it has been confirmed, then you have to switch it up. This enabled, this recovery codes, and this show verification. So these three different lines of code will only be executable if everything goes well inside here. And that's why I have this set up like that. The same situation goes on for the disabled two-factor authentication. So if I come in here and log in, I had this else statement over here. And if I come in here and open my profile, and I find that, you know, this two-factor authentication is not enabled, why do I then have a two-factor? Why do I have a two-factor secret in my database? It can still be used again, right? It can still be found by somebody and it can be used again. So we need to generate a new two-factor security. And that way, when we come in here with the credentials that I have inside over here, with these credentials that I have inside of my application over here, I will not be able to enable two-factor authentication. So I'll come in here and then enter my 6-digit code, which is 327282, and I shouldn't be able to, you know, it is invalid, as you can see. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to scan again. And when I scan again, you'll definitely see that it's coming in. And then when you see these two different levels, you have them giving us different numbers for each and every one of them. So you can see it keeps on refreshing. Every single time you disable, enable, it keeps on refreshing our QR code so that we can now start afresh. And now once we've come in here and done this, I'm going to put in the new code 180.988 and hit enter. And there we go. That's how it works. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's that easy. Especially this two-factor authentication is really one of the most complex features that you can probably implement inside your authentication sections inside the application. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is look at our browser sessions. And ladies and gentlemen, this one I think was one of the worst ones because it kept on giving me a headache on how to implement. But with a little bit of ChatGPT and a little bit of, trying to understand the code here and there, we finally achieved it. So check this out, yeah? If I was to log into this application using a different browser, okay? If we were to log into this application using a different browser, this is what will happen. I'll go into my browser, okay? I'll come into force.test. I'll come in here and log in, and then I send the code to my phone. So the code is coming in from my authenticator, 730-435, and then you can definitely see I've logged in. So now, given that I've logged in now, I go to my profile. I can see that there are two browser sessions. There's this one that was active 4 seconds ago, and if I come in over here and refresh this one, okay, this one was active 9 seconds ago, but this is not my browser session. Okay, this is not my browser session. Now, the thing about it is you can definitely see that we used Brave on this side over here. So it should have shown up as Brave. But the thing about it is Brave, again, is another extension from, is an extension. I think it's a fork of I think it's a fork of, the words are not coming in. It's a fork of Chrome. Brave is a fork of Chrome. So if I try to do it again with Edge, I think, I'm not sure about the different browsers that are enabled in this one, but let's try and do it in Edge. So I'll come in here, do force.test. I'll try and log in with my password. And as you can see, it works just as well on Edge, by the way. And just do my password. And then I log in. Now I have my code 49746. And I hit enter and we're in. All right. So I'll come in here and save this, and I'll go to my profile, and you can see in my profile I have Edge. Okay. Edge is the current session over here. If I go back to my Chrome one and refresh this, you can definitely see we have Edge here. This is mine, and then this is the one from Brave. Okay. So definitely there needs to be an addition for Brave, but given that Brave is a fork of Chrome, then we can definitely see that there's some things that are probably not going to go away. We could have tried it on my phone. Okay, I'm going to try it on my phone. So in order for me to try it on my phone, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the Laravel Herds Expose API. So I'm just going to come in here and just do, I'm just going to open another terminal. And now I'm just going to say, okay, well, this one is already open, I think. So if I just go to the full one. So this one is running the Vite. And then now this one, I'm just going to come in here and do herd share. When I do herd share, it's going to open the Expose API and give me a link that we can access from the global section. And then I'm going to control click on this and open it on the, and then I'll come in here and share with the user. Okay, so I'm going to share with my devices once it loads. So of course it's going to load the login page over here. And you can definitely see that because it's already on HTTPS and Vite is running in the background, then it's not going to give me the styling. So I'm just going to come in here. Actually, let me just do the styling just so that we can be happy, okay? So I'm just going to come into my Vite area. I'm going to close it and then do npm run build. And once we've done npm run build, we can definitely go back to our browser over here, refresh this link, right? So we have our styling. And now when we come in here and we send to our devices, I'm going to send to my phone. And I think for my phone is this one. It's going to pop up over here on Chrome. Now we have it loading up over here. And you can definitely see, I don't know if I can show you via, so that is how it's supposed to look. Let me just try and, I don't know, I should have put automatic ISO so that this can be very visible, but it's not. Maybe I should lower the brightness so that it can be visible. So that is how it is right now on my phone. So I'm just going to come in here and log in with the credentials. I've used the wrong credentials. Let me show you how it pops up. As you can see, it pops up like that. So now what I'm going to do here is put in the right credentials now. Then it's requested me for my two-factor authentication, as you can see. So I'll go to my authenticator app over here. Like you can see, I can come in here, copy this code at the very bottom, paste it in here. As you all can see, I'll click on login. And essentially, it's supposed to redirect me towards this whole dashboard. But then, given that it's not redirecting because of the lack of links, like if we look at our .env, for example, if we look at our .env inside our application over here, it's still using force.test, okay? So that's why it's going to throw me to that side where there's a 404. But now when I come in here and refresh this, it redirects me now to the page. And as you can see, because of the link again, because of the link that's inside our .env, you can definitely see that the user profile, the user profile image is not showing up the way it's supposed to show up. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Inside here, inside our .env, we have to replace this with the exposed UI or URL, which I think I can't retrieve right now. Or what we're going to do is we're going to just go to the browser and open it over here. So here it is. And we're going to come in here, copy it, go back to the over here, and then paste it inside here. And once we do that and save, if we come in here into our phone and refresh things, we'll definitely get our user profile right there. So let it just load up for you, and you can see our user profile over there. If we click on that user profile, you can definitely see now it pops up over here. And now we can actually go ahead and click on our profile page. So which is over here. And our profile page pops in like that. And now, because of that, we have a new browser session that has been opened up. And when we go to our new browser session, let's actually open this up inside force.test. We're going to refresh this point over here. And we can definitely see that we have Chrome on Android OS. Okay, that's how that works, and that's how easy it is to implement that. So you can definitely see that over here inside my phone, I have my Chrome OS as the current session, right? And then over here, inside here, we have Chrome OS as Android, as the Android session, as Chrome Windows as the current session, sorry. So what I'm going to do here is click on this, log out other sessions. But if I click on log out other sessions, we have a situation over here where we're supposed to confirm the password. So in order for us to confirm the password, we're just going to come in here and do first the wrong password, click on that, it says incorrect password. So now we're going to come in here, do the real password. And once we do that, we're going to click on log out other sessions, and that is done. So it logs out all the other sessions except for this session over here. So once that is done, if we come in here and look at how that has affected, okay, let's actually go back to the Brave browser. And if I refresh this, it's going to redirect us to the login. If I refresh it on my phone as well, it's going to redirect me to the login. Just watch. I'm just refreshing. And you can see it's gone back to the login. So backend logic. Let's see what happens. So we have our logout other browser session over here, which is again using Volt. And what we have done here is we've come in here and brought in something from Jetstream at this point. Jetstream has a class called agent, okay, which extends mobile detect. So let's click on this and you can see what I'm talking about. You see here in agent, it extends mobile detect. Mobile detect has a package, this package called detection, okay? Detection is a package. Let me actually just open this up in our browser over here. So we have this mobiledetect.net. It says that it's a lightweight PHP mobile detection class. And what you can actually use this instead of using the one that I used from Jetstream. So essentially we've replaced Jetstream entirely, but we've used the concept of Jetstream in this. So you can definitely see that we have our mobile detection situations over here. And if we come in here and into our demo, you can see device type is computer, user agent, Mozilla 5.4, Apple WebKit, that's Chrome and all that stuff. And then feedback and all that kind of stuff. It's all here. And it's giving us all of these details, and we can be able to use those detection techniques inside our Laravel application. You've already experienced it. You've already been seeing that, like either whether you're using a phone or whether you're using, a desktop or a laptop device, it tells you that you're using a PC or you're using a mobile phone or tablet, okay? So now given that that's the situation, okay? Given that that's the situation, we can come in here and implement it as follows. We've brought in this agent inside here. We've brought in our authentication, we've brought in validation exception, we've brought in illuminate HTTP request. Now, to get the user's session, okay, you have to come in here and bring in the request inside mount. All right, and just say that you're getting the user session and vitu kama kaida. It's the same thing. If we come in here into the get user sessions function over here, this is what it does. It takes the request, okay, that you're passing in, and then you come in here. First of all, it's going to check the session driver, which is inside our .env as a database. If it's not database, then return, stop there. Right? If the session driver is not the database, there's no reason to run this, because again, if the session driver is using synchronization, then it cannot take the different sessions and store them in a database, and somebody who gets out of the application will be logged out and has to log back into the application. That's how that works. So given that the session driver is the database, this is what happens. The session is equal to, there's a database table called sessions, which we imported from our application area. And now what we're going to do, we're going to look at database migrations, and we have our table here. For the users, we have sessions table, our sessions table. So now here we have our sessions table where our foreign ID is the user ID, the IP address, the user agent, the payload, and all that stuff. Now, I just want to state this. If you're using a different authentication guard, you definitely have to create these tables for those different authentication guards. This one is particularly for the user. You can't use this for any other differing authentication guard. Now, if we have our user ID, our IP address, our user agent, our payload, and all that stuff, right? We have our user agent. If we have that all set up, now this is what's going to happen. We come in here, and then we come and say where user ID is equal to the authenticated user ID. We order by the last activity, okay? And then we've gotten it, and then we are mapping the agent onto this. So this is what happens. We call this map function, all right, where we are passing in the session, and then we're using the request that we've passed in from here, okay? Once we do that, we call, first of all, a new variable, agent is equal to new agent. And then we come in here and say agent set user agent, and we're trying to get the sessions user agent from the database. Now, once we've gotten the sessions user agent from the database, this is what we're returning in total when we're mapping everything. We map the session ID, we map the IP address, we map the browser, okay? And then we also map the platform. Then and this browser and platform are coming in from the agent that are coming in from the user agent. So we got the browser, we've gotten the platform, and now we're also getting whether or not this is a desktop or it's a mobile phone. So I have this is desktop part, and then we come in here and say agent is desktop. If it's true, let it be true. If it's false, then you just put the mobile phone. And this is very crucial when it comes to now the icon that we're probably going to be using. Then we check if the session is current. So the only way to check if the session is current is if in the browser the session ID is matching the request session ID that we have inside our application, then we know that it's current. Then we check last active. So we check last active against the last time that the session was active and now, which we balance it out, and we give the difference for humans, like it's a human time readable. And that's how we run this function over here for getting the user sessions. Now, we're getting the user sessions so that we can list them down one after another. How do we log out all the other user sessions from the one that we already have in place? We come in here and say, if this password, then we throw, well, if there's no password, then we throw validation exception. There's no password. If we have our password not being the correct password, then we throw that this is the incorrect password. Now, this is where people will probably think that things are very difficult, yet it's so easy. All you're just going to do here is you're just going to come in here and go to the database table and go and select all the sessions that are not the current session for that particular user ID. So you're going to say where this user ID is the authenticated user ID, where the ID that is in question, now the ID for the sessions, the ID column, is not equal to the session get ID. So all of the others except for this one are getting deleted. And then we come in here and, you know, reset all our values. So the password is reset and the success message is given. So success message logged out from other sessions successfully. And then we come in here and run this request again, this get user sessions again. Once we've done that, now we deal with the UI. The UI is just going to deal with the normal action section from the Jetstream, where we have the title, where we have the description, where we have the content. Now inside the content is where the main stuff is going. All I've just done is put an action message over here on logged out and all that kind of stuff. But we could get rid of this action message area because I don't need it. I already have my toasts. And then we come in here and look at this, okay? We have this description over here, which is also using translation, but it's not functional. It's just a text. And then we have it inside here for each sessions as session. So now we've gotten all our sessions. For each session as session, what are we doing? If the session is desktop, then using the PC display from Bootstrap icons. If it's not, then use phone. It's as simple as that. Then we come in here, we log in the browser, the session browser. So we state the name of the browser and we state the name of the platform. We come in here and put in the IP address. So if you can see over here, we have the IP address, which is home 127.0.0.1. And we can definitely see the time that they were last active. Using this IP address, if we decided to do another flex column and put in like the flag of where this IP address is from, we can do that, right? And then use a VPN to actually pinpoint whether or not this IP address locality is actually working. Then we move on forward and look at this other stuff, okay? We have this form over here which submits to log out other sessions. And first things first is that it will definitely check for the confirm password, okay? It will check for the password. And if the password is the current password, if the password is the password of the user, then it will give us a success message in between here underneath the confirm, underneath the button, okay? So you just key in the password and then the success message pops up after you've submitted. And if you've submitted successfully. And that's how that works, essentially. So to test it, we've tested it already. You've seen how it works. And that is just the logic. You can implement this however which way you want to use it. I'm using Bootstrap currently, but you can use Tailwind in whichever form or manner. And then we have the delete account logic. So now the delete account logic is very simple. Everyone needs to actually fully understand what's going on over here. Check this out. In the delete user form, I have my password, I have my error message, my success message, and okay, so this two I was actually using for testing, but now I'm using, I don't think I'm using my error message inside here whatsoever. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Even my success message, the same thing. Okay, so check this out, yeah? I'm going to get rid of these. Let's see what happens. Okay, so this is what happens. Check this out. If we have this confirm user deletion function, which converts this confirming user deletion from false to true, okay? And the reason why I have that is because of modals. Let me explain. In the modal situation, in our dialog modal over here, this dialog modal only, and this is inside our components. We can go inside our components and open it over here. So dialog modal is over here, dialog modal. And watch what happens, yeah? We can definitely see that we have our wire model live confirming user deletion. So this is only going to show up, okay, if this confirming user deletion is true. That's how that works, okay? So there's a confirming user deletion variable over here, which is false. And because I have a button over here that is going to trigger this function over here, confirm user deletion, it will convert that to true and the dialog modal will pop open, okay? If I come in here and click on cancel, there's a cancel button somewhere here, and then it will toggle that confirming user deletion, Okay. So that's how that works. If so if I click on this wire model live and it confirms the user deletion, then this is what's going to happen. There's content inside here, and there's a part where there's a password that is supposed to show up, where we're going to type in our password to confirm everything. If we type in this password and then we hit enter, or we click on the button for the deletion, okay, it's going to trigger this targeted function, delete. All right, that's what's going to be triggered. And in that situation, this is what happens. Check this out. You can see delete account, and then it asks you, are you sure you want to delete your account? Once your account is deleted, all of its resources and data will be permanently deleted. Please enter your password to confirm you would like to permanently delete your account. And then we come in here and key in our password, and boom, it's already done. All right. So you can see unable to set component data. There's an error situation over here because of that error message that I deleted at this point over here. So public, I'm just going to reverse that. And actually, I'm going to keep all of those. But the account has already, the damage has already been done. So if I come in here and refresh this and do that deletion again, so I'm just going to come in here, do this, and then delete account. So, of course, now it's telling us the request guard logger does not exist. And I think it's because it's using something other than this authentication logout process. But it's run all the stuff all the way from top till bottom. It's just not run this one. Okay. And if it does not run this one, then it means that I'll just have to refresh this and it takes me to this point. And I don't have this user's details anymore. And if I try and log in this person, it just doesn't work. So I could as well just get rid of this. All right, log out the user, because you can't log out a user that doesn't exist. Okay, and yeah, you return redirect to home, and then it says that your account has been deleted successfully in a particular message, and that message is supposed to pop up inside our probable, area over here. So given that that has happened, let's actually walk through the steps again. Now this time on the user experience. I'm going to create my account. I'm going to come in here and create my password. And I'm going to confirm my password. Actually, let me just use a simple password. 8-digit password, and we register. So now once we've registered, it will probably take us back to the login. And now once we've taken it back to the login, we log in and we send, now it must verify this user. So now given that we've already created this user, there's a verification that comes in. So we come in here and verify the email address. And now we are inside the profile. And now once we're inside the profile, watch this, ladies and gentlemen, we have all our different functions. We have the updating, the confirm password. I don't want to do that. All I want to do is delete the account. And now I'll come in here, put in the password and delete my account, and it redirects me to the login page. And that's how you operate, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you use Fortify to its advantages. That's how you can, like, even without Fortify, you can use Jetstream to its advantages just like that. I don't think it's been legit an hour because, of course, I'm going to edit this video and all that stuff. But I hope it's been insightful. I hope it's also encouraged some people to take these things on and, just try as much as they can to make sure that login and registration is implemented, and also the profile editing and all the different things that they can implement to enhance their security features is also going to be implemented. The next thing I'm going to be doing, ladies and gentlemen, is showing you how to operate with Socialite, with Laravel Socialite. And that's the next implementation that I'm going to be doing over here. I'll do it and then I'll come back to you and show you how it is done in its full entirety. I hope you've liked the style of the videos, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everything is, a little bit more clearer and it's a little bit more understandable so that you guys can go ahead and implement this in your applications, however which way you feel like you're applying this all in your applications. Until the next video, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys later. Please do take care. And as always, may God bless you all.